Hey, it's LSuperSonicQ. LSuperSonicQ here. It's LSuperSonicQ. Hey guys, it's LSuperSonicQ here, and today we're going to take a look at some clay models that I was planning on sculpting over the past few years, but never actually did. You're probably going to have to use your imagination for most of these, as, again, they were never sculpted and can only be compared with the other clay models that were sculpted around their time. We'll begin with models of larger production, starting with a Super Smash Bros. Melee Captain Falcon. This fox that I made in October of 2010, and this Marth that I made in summer of 2011, we're going to begin a series of Super Smash Bros. Melee posable characters. The next one in the line was going to be a Super Smash Bros. Melee Captain Falcon that I was planning on sculpting sometime in 2012. He was going to be exactly like these guys, completely posable due to the wireframe interior, and incredibly detailed from hours of painstakingly detailed paint work. Remembering how time-consuming and tedious Marth and Fox were, I delayed the project, and it inevitably got lost in other simpler models that were going on at that time. Additionally, in light of how successful Fox and Marth were, there were lesser plans to sculpt the Falco in a row to coincide with these guys. However, that idea was even more of a draft than Captain Falcon was. Another interesting concept that I had plans to sculpt was a Sega Sonic the Hedgehog puzzle statue. This sculpture would feature all 4 characters from the game sculpted to stand on a small puzzle piece base. When the entire set was done, each character would interlock with each other's base to create a circular base with all the characters. This model wouldn't have been very large, and I think one of the reasons why it was unproduced was because at the same time this was being planned, I had the Sonic R and Classic Sonic 1 diorama sets going as well, so I guess I thought it was too much Sonic at the time. Speaking of my Sonic 1 diorama set, I also had plans to sculpt a Sonic 3 diorama set. However, just as Captain Falcon proved too tedious, I thought to jump right into a Sonic 3 diorama set was way too ambitious, especially since the first set didn't get finished until 2012, which was many years after I started it. Now, to stray away from new concepts for a bit, would you be surprised if I told you I had plans to resculpt my Sonic the Fighters and Majora's Mask sets? Well, the Majora's Mask set was like a happy thought that never got farther than that, and actually stemmed from the failed attempt to resculpt the Sonic the Fighters set. Last summer, I thought I'd relive some nostalgia and improve the sculpts of my 2006 Sonic the Fighters clay set. I even got as far as printing off artwork for every character and used the dropper tool to get the perfect single color images so when picking out the clay at AC I could match it exactly with the in-game model's color. However, a couple of weeks had passed since I did all that, and the hype had kind of died down, and I realized that it would be a costly endeavor too, so I kind of decided to forget about it. Back to some new concepts though, here are a few sets that never got made. Perhaps most interestingly, and one that I almost completely forgot about, was a set I once called the Final Stage Dioramas, which would consist of various Nintendo heroes battling a villain in an epic final area setting, such as Twilight Princess Link vs. Ganondorf, and a Pokemon Platinum Trainer vs. Giratina in the Distortion world. As with most sets from around this time, which I'm just guessing was 2009 due to Pokemon Platinum's relevance, I didn't think that my skills were good enough to replicate the thoughts in my head, and I knew that this set was going to be hard to finish or even start. Similarly, around the time of some earlier to mid video game clay figure model videos, I wanted to do a Zelda boss set in which I would sculpt every Majora's Mask and Ocarina of Time boss. I believe these would have been on the smaller side, but knowing my abilities back then, they probably would have been large and messy. I only think I made plans to make these for the initial hype for whatever the next video game clay figure model video was. I remember I made a whole set sheet too and got all the artwork I needed. One last tidbit about sets before we conclude with standard models is that the Nintendo bobblehead set, which is still being sculpted, actually evolved from a vague Nintendo painted series that this Link started. Many years ago, I once created a set sheet which consisted of Twilight Princess Link, Shadow Dragon Marth, Mario Galaxy Mario, Metroid Prime 3 Samus, and Star Fox Command Fox, all of which would be the models to a Nintendo painted set, pretty much just a nice standard set of Nintendo characters painted and sculpted at a rather large scale. Simply without a reason though, the Link and Samus bobbleheads were sculpted, and when thinking of other models for the bobblehead set, I unintentionally thought of all the characters that were going to be made for the painted set. The painted set had been on hold forever, and therefore I decided to make that old Link just a standalone model, and convert all the painted characters into bobblehead models. And that kind of became the bobblehead set, which is still being sculpted today. To conclude this video, I'll just go over some standalone models that I had plans to make for one reason or another, but they just never got sculpted for any number of reasons, and I probably don't see myself sculpting these characters anytime soon either. There was going to be a mallet to go along with this Geno and Boshi from Super Mario RPG. There was going to be a Wind Waker mini set of 3 that I think was cancelled due to this Link being sculpted, but not actually being in the planned set, so I didn't feel like sculpting another Toon Link. A larger, super real Falco to go along with this Star Fox Assault Fox back in 2009 or so. A two-dimensional like Knuckles and Tails to go with this Sonic from Sonic Adventure that probably never happened due to E101 MK2 being finished instead. A rather cool looking statue of Little Charo and Dread from an incredibly unknown Japanese game called Little Charo Travels that was probably not sculpted due to me having so much trouble with the original Kyle hat I made and the delay in the obscure video game character set. And finally, an assortment of standard-sized models for Video Game Clay Figure Models 9, including Billy Hatcher, Pulseman, Vile, and Ness. All not sculpted because Video Game Clay Figure Models 9 was really a hit or miss with the model selection. So whatever looked good enough and I had an easy enough time sculpting made it into the pre-colored clay part of that video, which these guys did not. And there you have it, a ton of clay ideas that never came to fruition. There's one part of me that sees a lot of lost potential, but then I have to remember all the clay that I have made and all the evolution and innovations that have come from those ones that I have sculpted and finalized. These guys were obviously scrapped for their reasons, and it's a mystery what they would have become. Well, that's it for this time. I'm LSuperSonicQ, thank you for watching, and until the next video, Finn.